County right now, they're preparing this whole discussion, this whole debate, this whole intended litigation over the notion of customary use. And so I wanted to talk a minute about that. What is customary use? Now, so first, disclosure, I'm by no means an expert. I don't claim to be an expert in this type of property law, but I know the basics. And customary use is the idea that the public, for time immemorial, has come to the beach, as these folks are doing this morning. They have walked, maybe they've sat, they've fished, they've picked up sand dollars, and they've done all the things that we generally do when we come to the beach today, and they've been doing that for hundreds of years, and customary use may say even for thousands of years. These are the activities that we've been undertaking as members of the public. And so customary use says that once the public has done that for an extended period of time, the public gains the right to continue to do that moving forward in time. And so even if the property rights underneath the beach are parceled up and sold away, and we can have a separate debate about whether that can or should happen, but even if they are, customary use says, but the public still has an easement, a limited right to do the things that it's always done on this dry sandy beach. And so my personal view, and again, disclaimer here, I believe that customary use is a legitimate argument. I believe that it is applicable in most places to your oceanic, and in this case to your Gulf front beaches. And so I'm very interested to watch Walton County as they move forward with that process. And I believe that ultimately in Okaloosa County, we will have to reconcile and make a final determination as to whether or not our beaches are public or our beaches are private. Now we know on Okaloosa Island it's generally a settled issue that because of the way that property was gifted through the U.S. government, that those beaches are in fact fully and completely public. We have a different issue though once you get to the jetties and then move towards the east through Destin and then on past Destin. And so I think we will ultimately have to settle that issue much in the same way that Walton County is intending to settle that issue. And what I would like to do is ultimately as a county, once we have gathered all our facts, start to move in that direction to get that resolution. I think there's probably no more important thing we can do for the long-term viability of our county than to settle the rights between these legitimate property owners and then the public's interest, make a determination so that there's no more dispute, there's no more debate, but everyone understands what the rules of the game are. Now, it's my personal view again that the customary use would prevail. But I've got an alternate argument that says even if customary use does not prevail, even if it's determined that property owners like these own all the way out to here, and they've got the right to tell everyone that you're not allowed to be on this sandy beach, I believe that we should use our tourism development dollars and that we should go through the process that is laid out in the Constitution to make a claim to reopen that property to the public and reestablish an easement that would be the equivalent to a customary use right. And that, in the Constitution, is the process of eminent domain. And the government does have legitimate places, reasons, and times when it can and should use eminent domain. The core constitutional requirement in eminent domain is that the property owner who is having to yield their right to the greater good be fully and fairly and justly compensated. And so if we were to ever go down that road, there would be a process where the courts would determine, one, that the public necessity existed to settle this right, and then two, a process of determining what that fair compensation would be so that the value of that taking that could occur would be calculated, and then it would be paid to those property owners that would be losing that property right. What we would have at the end is a public that fully, fairly, and clearly understood what its rights of use were, and we would be preserving this very limited, this very precious asset for our kids and their children to preserve, to enjoy for the next 100, maybe 300 years.